Okay,
Cool.
so we're finally back in action on the
Podcast.
We have not abandoned you, but we did abandon you guys for a little bit. We just got so wrapped up in summer travels, and it was kind of turned into one of those summers where the Swell was nonstop. There was literally Swell somewhere at some time every month, every week.
Yeah.
And we just got totally spazzed out and we were jumping on a plane weekly.
Well, we would like both be gone and be like, oh, so we were gone somewhere else. Then we'd be like, oh, you're going to be home. I'm like, at the same time. And then the next day, one of us would be gone. So it just never worked out for like, I don't know how long it's been. It's been like 4 months.
It's been months.
Do you know, Jack? How long? 4 months?
4 months.
Do you know what episode this is?
16.
16.
Wow,
Episode 16. Welcome back, you guys.
Welcome back.
To the
Episode
Nate.
16. And hoping we can stay consistent this time.
We will.
We won't make promises, but no false promises.
I think with winter approaching, we'll be able to
Yeah.
definitely put out a bunch of these because now we can just chill and shoot podcasts if we're not surfing.
We said that when we both got injured.
That's true. But I was gone. And then
you had to get,
as soon as I got back, you left.
Yes.
Or actually, no. You left like way before and then... Well, you're back now.
I was home, and then you were getting your injections.
Yeah, that was funny. We both got injured at like 2 days apart, was
Yeah,
it?
It was really weird.
That was crazy because I got hurt in Australia on my foot. I tore some ligaments in my foot, and then 2 days later, I'm talking to Nate, and he's like, I have a huge gash in my elbow, and I'm in the middle of nowhere in Indonesia.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if it heals here, and then maybe surf this next swell. I was like, dude, that is a rogue call.
Yeah.
What happened with you?
It was definitely a road call. Basically, I was in Africa, saw Indo was lighting up. There was like a run of 4 swells. I was like, okay, I'm going to go. Perfect. Like, I felt like I was close because I was in Africa, but it was still a mission to get there. I got there, and it was day 2 of the trip. And after surfing like some of the heaviest waves I've surfed all summer, I go out of the session and start doing turns. And I just do this layback carve thing. Small wave, small turn, small board, go over the falls, board spears into my arm. Wound, open. Pretty much, if you guys don't know or seen it on my YouTube or whatever, the board speared into my arm. Basically what I told Koa, I got this cut on my arm. Maybe I'll try to heal it. There's another swell coming. Koa's like... bold move.
Oh, yeah, you sent me the video in that weird hospital, and there's like chicken bones in the sink of the hospital,
so
and
bad.
you're squirting blood out of your elbow.
Yeah. Well, the craziest thing is I haven't had stitches before. So
Never?
No. Actually, I got a mole removed. That was the only stitches I'd ever had.
Oh, trippy.
And the funniest thing is, I was like, wow, it took like a surgeon and his tools to finally give me stitches. Like, I got really tough skin. Like, you know how I think.
Yeah, I'm a superhuman.
Totally delusional.
Genetics.
And then when my board hit my arm, I looked at, there was a guy swimming, shooting water. I said, my board just hit my arm so hard. And I was like, didn't even cut me. And he's like, really? I'm like, no, look at the nose of my board. It broke off. He's like, holy smokes. I'm like, bro, my skin is so tough. But it was here on my elbow, and because it had the way it had stabbed in, I had felt pain, and then like over here, it was so weird. It like hit a nerve here, and I felt pain over here. And I looked here, it was nothing, and then I paddled out to the lineup and looked down, and there was just blood pooling out. Whatever. Fast forward, go to that sketchy hospital, and the guy, to be honest, the guy there, he did the best he could with what he had, but
The knowledge he had.
Yes, and his place he was in, this place was not clean. First bed he shows me to is covered in blood, like has blood on it that doesn't look old. Like I was like, he's like, lay down. I'm like, no, I'm not laying here. There's blood on it. He goes, oh, sorry. Like, okay, come to this one. This one had like what looked like it had been bled on, but washed. So it was like faint stains.
Oh, just stained,
and I'm like,
bloody.
Just gonna tell myself
hospital
that's
bed,
betadine or something. Like,
oh yeah, sure.
just,
At that
I lay
point,
down, yeah, and it was like that. At that point, I was like, I just got to get this thing sealed up. And he cleans it out, and I'm looking at his tools, and I'm like,
Did you make sure you cleaned his tools before, or were you just like, stitch me up?
no, I was at that point. Exactly. I was just kind of fried on the whole situation. And then the blood was squirting, like the cut was squirting blood, but it wasn't due to like an artery hit. What had happened is
Yeah.
like I ripped my bursa sac, it's called, which is the sac that covers the joint and muscle. And so the board went through the skin, through the muscle, the bursa sac into the bone, hit the bone. But at that time I didn't know it. But when the bursa sac gets ruptured, it like fills with like fluid and blood really quick.
Okay.
So it had like basically swell bow. Like all the skaters, you grew up with swell bow, right?
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking
That
about.
happened, but there was open. So when he untook the bandage off, the thing just
just-
went boom, and I was like, "Oh my gosh! Like this is not looking good."
Well, so if if you didn't go that deep into your arm, you might have swell bow right now, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It would have been swollen.
Say it didn't puncture the skin, I think I would have just had crazy swell bow.
Oh,
Yeah,
that looks so gnarly when skaters have that. On their,
Ivan has it all the time.
Yeah, it's like their elbows, like there's a lump like that big
Yeah, it's bad.
of just like fluid.
Yeah, and that
Looks
fluid
painful.
supposedly, like if your bursa sac rips internally, that fluid can be like poisonous for whatever reason. I was just
Shit.
reading up on it, but I didn't have that experience.
Because you left there and then came home and were rushed into surgery, right?
Yeah, well, so it was just kind of chain of just ignorance on my part. Like I said, I look at his tools; they're covered in rust, and I'm like, hoping that's rust and not like blood. Because when I look back, I was laying down, looking away, and I look back, and then I look at the tools, and I'm like, I had our friend there that owns the camp.
Yeah.
He could speak Indonesian. The doctor couldn't speak English. I'm like, please ask him if those tools are clean. Like, they look rogue. Look at the tools, man. And he asked the guy, he's like, I promise you they're sterilized. But yes, they are rusty. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
Dude.
Like, not good. So I tried to heal it for 2 days. And by the second day, it was so swollen and red. I sent a photo to one of our doctor friends back here. He goes, you need to get on a plane right away. Like, you got to get out of there. Like, you're tripping. It's not like a little cut. Like, it looks really infected. If it gets worse, it turns into MRSA or whatever.
Dude, you can die from that stuff.
Yeah, your muscle starts to get eaten away. Flew home, which was just a nightmare in itself because I had to make this 6:30 flight in Jakarta. Drove through the night from South Sumatra in a taxi. Took a ferry at 1 a.m. Got to Jakarta by 6 a.m. like a 12-hour drive, and got on a plane and flew home. John picks me up. Go straight to the hospital. Get in there, and the doctor's like, okay, what happened? And then he's like, okay, the cut doesn't look that big. It does look swollen and inflamed. Like, you say that the board hit you and broke. We're going to x-ray it. And so that we can make sure there's no chips of board in there, because the doctor had pulled out some piece of fiberglass when he was cleaning it, the endo doctor. The guy x-rays it, comes back, and he goes, so things are going to escalate a little quickly here. And I'm like, what? And John's sitting next to me. He's like, there's good news and bad news. So bad news is you have fractured your elbow. Your board went in and took a chunk off your elbow. And that bone fragment, we think it's a bone fragment, might be a piece of board. It's sitting just off the bone. And we got to go reopen the cut. We have to open it wider. We have to clean your bone because it's already infected, and if anything from dirty water or whatever got onto your bone and your bone had been chipped open, you can get a bone infection.
That's the worst, right?
Yeah, that would
Then you die.
Pretty much, you could die. You can get blood poisoning, or from what they were saying, like you would possibly have to do a month in the hospital doing
Antibiotic IV.
antibiotic IV.
Yeah, I've heard of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Every day antibiotic IV. And I was just like, he's like, so the good news is the ortho surgeon's here and we can put you under in an hour. I was like, in an hour?
Great.
I've never been put under before. Literally.
Oh, wait, you've never gone under?
No, never.
What?
Yeah. And he's like, the anesthesiologist, everyone's ready to go. Like, when's the last time you ate? I was like, I just had a black coffee. He's like, when? I was like, 45 minutes ago. He's like, okay, we're going to prep you.
No
Literally,
way.
45 minutes later, they're like, I'm prepped for surgery. And the guy just, it was really interesting. This is like off topic, but we're podcasting, so we got time. I had heard the story of a friend who had surgery and they had been put under, but they had been awake but unable to move. And I was like, this was like 10 years ago I heard the story, but I'd never forgotten it and I had never gone under.
Yeah.
And so the story like lived with me until like, and I told the doctor like, oh, I'm a little bit nervous. Like my friend had this experience happen and they had felt drills going in. It was an ankle surgery, bone drills. And they had felt the drill, could feel it, but they were paralyzed by the anesthesia, anesthetic, whatever it's called.
Yeah, antiseptic.
You can't pronounce it.
Anesthesia.
Anesthesia.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, he's like, no, like, don't worry about that. Like, we'll see your heart rate spike. He's like, that is something that could happen, definitely. But we'll have heart rate monitors on you. And so supposedly your heart rate will spike. And that's your body registering that there's pain happening. And so they'll know if you are slightly awake or whatever.
I think there's just one person that's strictly there, the anesthesiologist, that's trained to just
watch your heart rate.
Watch everything. Watch all your vitals and see if you need more or less, or like when they wake you up and put you under.
Yeah.
So
it gave me some hope. And then
God, that's a scary thought before you're going to go under.
I know, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And so he's like, hey, you want to inject your own anesthesia, whatever it is? And I can't say the word.
Anesthesia.
Anesthesia? I'm like, sure. He's like, I bet you can't get to the end of the injection in your IV. And I was like, I bet you I can.
He gets a kick out of this. Huh?
Yeah, he was loving it. And so he gives it to me, and I'm injecting it, and it was like a hard plunger. So it's like, I'm getting through it. Don't feel anything. And then all the doctors are just standing there staring at me laughing. They're like, you're not going to make it. Just fully max out the plunger. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, well, what happens now? I guess I need another one. And then I just woke up. It was literally like that. Like I finished it and then I felt like someone touching my shoulder. They're like, hey, wake up. I was like, holy shit, it's over.
So trippy. Anesthesia
so weird,
so
man.
Trippy.
It was so weird. No dreams, nothing, just blackness.
It's crazy. It's the strangest thing. You just like blink. I just went under too. Like not long ago for my foot for just injections. And it's just like, I've done it. I've had to go under a couple times now, a few times. And it's something you can never really get used to. It's so scary because you hear all those stories. Like, thank God I didn't hear something like, oh, they felt everything, but they couldn't move under.
That's a horror story.
But I'm just like, oh, there's the risk that you'll never wake up.
Yeah.
But then I found out there's someone that's just monitoring everything, like your vitals and administering all the medicine and stuff.
Yeah.
It kind of gives me more peace of mind. Like someone went to school just for that.
Yep.
So like they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Or hopefully they're paying attention. But it's a trippy feeling when you just like only remember up until a certain, it's like blacking out when you're like, or drinking. You're like, wait, what was the last memory? And you're like, was I on the table? Or
I was partying with my friends. Yeah. And then I teleported.
And then now I'm here. Like, how'd I get here?
So that was pretty much what happened. They were like, we cleaned the bone, everything all good, sent me home. And I had a few weeks to recover. It was supposed to be like 4 weeks. But what happened with yours?
Oh, so mine, I was in Australia in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Like,
I know the area. It is definitely like far away from everything.
Nowhere. And I was just in a backside barrel and I had booties on, so I think my foot was like ultra stuck to my board and maybe that's why it happened. But my board came up at me and my foot, so it was my other foot, but it was like if my toe bent all the way to my shin. And it's like really violently went like that.
On your front foot or back foot?
On my front foot.
Oh,
but
crazy.
This is my back. So it was this foot.
Yeah.
See how it's like way more swollen?
Yeah, fully.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, it looks like there's all kinds of like scar tissue or something in there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's way calmed down than it was before. But pretty much I bent it up and like snapped this whole ligament right here.
So like the foam ball hit below your board?
Yeah.
And
And
you went past it.
I was going forward, yeah. So I went over my toe, and it like
man.
I felt it was so violent. Like I thought my foot went through my surfboard.
Because you felt like a cracking or snapping.
I don't know. My feet were kind of cold. I just felt like violence in my booty. I was like, oh God. And Billy was paddling back out. He's like, and I didn't get on my board. I was like trying to look at my foot in the booty and like getting pounded by waves. And Billy's like, "You all good?" I'm like, fuck, I don't know. Like my head's fine. I'm like, my head's good, but my foot. So I went in. I was like, just go surf. Like, I'll figure this out. And I got to the beach, and I went to take my booty off. And I was like, as I was taking my booty off, it was pretty sore. And I was like, did I dislocate my toe or like shatter my foot?
It's painful.
Yeah, it was painful. But I was so worried I was just going to take my booty off and my toe was just going to fall sideways.
It was like
everything was just shattered.
Yeah.
And then luckily it wasn't, but I could see like a bit of bruising starting. So after that, I had to hike up this cliff for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like vertical cliff.
Not an injury-friendly terrain there.
No, dude, not an injury-friendly place. Last time I was in Australia, I hit my head, remember, and broke my teeth. And had a concussion and like everything.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man, that's 2 for 2 in the same area for you.
Yeah, I want to go back so bad, but now I'm just like, maybe it's just not meant to be.
Third time's a charm.
Yep, third time's a charm. That's what I was saying. Might encounter a shark next time.
We hope not.
Dude, yeah.
People literally get eaten there.
I'm just joking. I take that back, universe, please. But what happened? So I got to the car and it started swelling up, and then I instantly started writing Dr. G and Mossy, and they're like, you got to get MRI. So I cut the trip short. It was 2 days into surfing. And
sucks.
It was the day before the big day where we had like this whole thing planned. We had jet skis set up and everything.
And that place is like, it's such a mission to get to.
Dude, it's a mission. It's 8 hours from the nearest airport.
So to be like cut off there is in a trip that like, once you're there, you want to be like there for the run.
Yeah,
like stopped short.
I was about to get a full like week and a half of waves with no one around, and 2 days into the trip, the small day, I just blew my foot out, went home, got an MRI here, and then just went down the rabbit hole of medicine and how like different it can be in certain places. Like here, just the like, I guess the science or whatever is backing like the medicine here is just like, they put me in a boot. They're like, if you don't keep the boot on for a long time, we'll put you in a cast. And then like don't take the boot off for 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks.
Wait, what was the injury?
Okay,
what did they tell you?
I tore this right here. So I tore this plantar ligament and then a little bit torn on. So there's like, I guess there's 3 ligaments in there that hold your whole thing sturdy. So I had a grade 3 on this one, and then other one was halfway torn, and then I bruised all these bones because my foot went up. And like the typical procedure is like in a boot for 6 weeks, blah blah blah. Like
they
don't
weren't
do anything.
pushing surgery at all.
No, they said. I mean, they said surgery would be an option if it never healed correctly.
Yeah.
But there's things you can do that just like speed up the healing so fast, like. This injury is supposed to take anywhere from 4 to 6 months, they said, or even longer. And it's been 2 months, or I surfed at 6 weeks.
Crazy.
Yeah, just because I went to California, Dr. Mossy.
Yep.
I did stem cells, PRP, and I went to Dr. G for a whole month straight of physical therapy.
So say again, what did they tell you your recovery should be, and what was it for you?
I said 4 to 6 months, sometimes longer.
4 to 6 months.
Till you can even get back to starting your thing.
And
your sport or whatever.
With all the stuff you did in California, which is when you went under.
Yeah.
With
they put me under for a little
6 weeks
procedure.
you're surfing.
6 weeks I was surfing. It's still like, I still feel it. Like it's sore,
crazy.
But I'm in the water. Like I surfed with your brother the other day.
That's
and
so
Eli.
Crazy where medicine is like that type of medicine is going.
It's crazy, dude. It's just like, it's weird that we're so cut off from it, because if you've never been injured and you're just like, oh, I got hurt or something's wrong, you just go to the hospital. You're like, oh, every doctor knows exactly what they're doing.
It's not super accessible. Yeah.
No, you got to like really do some research, and it's all about knowing, I guess, like the right people to go to.
Like, that are like the doctors that are willing to do the research into stuff that isn't as studied or pushed in
Yeah.
whatever they learned in their first run through medical school.
Just medicine's old and people are stuck in their
Yeah.
ways kind of, and there's new things out there that people don't know, or like they're just being taught now in America, a lot of stuff, especially stem cells and like my spine, even that disc.
Yeah.
If I was to get surgery here, they would have fused it.
That's crazy.
And fusions are like terrible, dude.
Yeah.
It's insane. But yeah, no, I'm good now. I surfed. I'd be surfing every day if there was waves, but it's just flat. So we might have to go on a trip here soon.
What was funny with that was I saw this kind of uncoordinated, unknowingly. We hadn't even talked about like our injury episodes we're making.
Oh,
We put them out on the same day,
Yeah.
within an hour of each other.
Yeah.
Someone commented, "What the heck?" Because that was obviously like we get injured, whatever we know. But on YouTube, the edit isn't made for like we're trying to figure out
Yeah, we're injured
what's
a week
going
before
on with the injury
Yeah.
and before we're editing, and so it was
What
just
random
hilarious
timing.
because to the public it was just simultaneous like bang bang, maybe go out injured, everything, and then I just seen this flood of comments. Podcast is back on. They're
I know.
done.
You healed too quick.
We both did.
Yeah. Well, you left. I was like,
Yeah.
because I was in California. I'm like,
Yeah.
Nate's hurt, but he's
Yeah.
okay. I'm like, perfect. We'll do podcast.
Yeah.
And then you were gone to
I
Africa.
was gone. I left too. So I pushed it with my departure, but it was like that swell just looked crazy. It was Namibia.
Oh yeah.
like,
How was it?
it was supposed to be.
I was
The numbers looked huge.
First of all, I was getting clinically depressed in California, driving in traffic every day, just watching everyone I knew in Africa.
It was literally everyone you would ever know.
I was like, I didn't
on
even care.
this
I would be
airplane.
so happy to go hang out with everyone.
Yeah, it was super funny.
But
it
go
was
on,
funny to see Jamie, like, because we never travel with Jamie, and he does his little trips that he likes to do, and it's mostly like Hawaii winter season. To see him in like somewhere as far as Africa was just hilarious because he's just.
How does he travel? Is he scattered?
he just had his crew, and he was just like, that was so far, 40 hours for this.
Africa's
and,
far, dude.
Bro, it was the first 4 days of the swell were so frustrating. It was not by any means like best ever, like however content will make it look. The first 4 days, like I think I did 4 laps back to back without catching a wave. 4 laps.
No.
The lap is so.
For those of you who don't know where Nate was in Namibia, it's like a 2-mile stretch.
Yeah.
And the current's ripping the whole time. So you got to jump in up here and then it sucks you down 2 miles and then you got to walk 2 miles back up. So 4 laps.
It was crazy. People
We're at
do
8 miles
not,
of walking.
all you see is, oh my God, best left in the world, which at times it is. But the physical toll it takes to like, when it's not that good to get a good one was just, people were getting so frustrated. I was getting frustrated, like, because you're watching, like, there's a chance that you could get a 30-second barrel or like the longest barrel you've ever gotten, but you're not getting it.
Yeah.
And you're like, why isn't it coming to me? And you're struggling on the paddle out and you're getting super worked and you're doing these giant hikes and then you're just getting ripped down in the current. Like the first 4 days were like that. And I think Jamie might have left before the 5th day. The 5th day
it looked like
pumped.
whatever swell came after the big day.
Yeah.
From what I saw,
That was the best
Was
day.
like the best waves.
Yeah.
So
'cause
Jamie was not psyched.
Jamie, I don't know. I talked to him. He was like, I haven't gotten over a 3-second barrel. I'm at Namibia. What the hell is going on? I was like, bro, I'm with you. I don't know, but that wave is so hard backside. It's so hard. I was watching
it's
the
hard in
front,
general.
the frontside guys, like, because frontside you can pump your legs but not move your upper body.
Yeah.
Like you can just do these little wiggles, but if the barrel isn't super big or square backside, you have to do these on-rail pumping, and it's so uncomfortable and weird body movement, and you just ping-pong around the barrel and get smoked. And, like, I watched the local South African, he's a local in South Africa, flew over to Namibia, but he spends a lot of time there. Jordy is his name. I forget his last name. He's on this pink board.
Jordy Smith?
Not Jordy Smith. This younger kid, and he was just... he just had the wave wired. He was getting 30-second barrels, even on the bad days. And I was like, where is my 30-second barrel?
So he scored the best waves of the trip, you think?
He got way more than anyone. Way more than anyone.
That's crazy. He could read that wave because you take off here and you can only see so far, and then the wave goes for another mile.
I don't know.
Just knowing like what it's gonna do down there.
It's Russian roulette. I don't know if it was obviously time spent there, but also being a goofy footer, it was just like
it's made for goofies.
Made
I
for
would
goofy
say.
footers.
Especially when it's fast like that. Whatever swell direction you guys were there for, from what I seen, looked fast.
It felt like maybe the last day, but I don't think it was near what we had when we went there together in 2018.
Yeah,
That trip was sick.
that was when I first started This Is Living.
Was that the first trip? No.
Yeah. Oh no, what?
That
Fiji was the first trip.
2018 was the year you started.
Yeah, but I thought
Yeah.
Africa might have been our first trip.
I don't remember.
Fiji was our first trip. Second trip. Africa was our second. I don't know, but that's what was really
That
fun
felt
because the
really good.
waves were slow enough that you could make most of the waves.
Yeah. And
That was the last time I was there. It was
Yeah.
2018.
there was every pro on the planet there. Kelly was there.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Jamie,
Kelly.
Brett Barley, Koa Smith, Benji Brand, a host of pro South African guys. There was guys from Peru and France and Spain and
Oh, Nick Von Rupp and them.
Nick Von Rowe wasn't there, but he posted a thing that said, I remember the first day he posted.
Wait, I totally thought he was there. I thought he just put out like a YouTube video of it.
He wasn't there, but he posted a video that said live from Namibia, and it was like a GoPro POV barrel. I was like, what the heck?
What a throw off, huh?
I don't know.
You're like, where is he? I can't find him.
Yeah, it was just funny.
How crazy is all the seals over there? It's like
Yeah.
a seal festival. There's like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of these little things.
It's the Burning Man of seals.
Yeah.
It's the seal Burning Man land.
Did you see Burning Man right now? Have you been seeing what's going on? Dude, Koa Smith and all his brothers are there.
In a
Or
mud
just
puddle. They're in a mud puddle.
It looks dangerous
Yeah.
and scary. I would be so bummed. I don't think people can leave.
They can't leave.
I heard they're deploying like the National Guard
No.
to help people. Yeah.
I saw people posting live update, stuck here for 3 days, and it's just mud puddle.
And like 50-mile-an-hour winds or something.
Did it happen? Like the event happened, or it hasn't happened in their?
No, it's mid-event. Like I guess it's like a week long or something. And people go and just into the desert, take their drugs and hippie out, and it just the gods rain down on them.
The god's like, you think you're in the desert? Watch this.
I hope people are okay because that seems kind of dangerous from everything I was watching. They said the mud, like whatever clay it is, turns into like a thick layer of like almost quicksand, and you can't drive.
Sinkholes.
Yeah, I guess so. Like 6-inch deep sinkholes.
That's crazy. Speaking of natural disasters, our neighbor island just got.
Oh my God, Maui, dude. How crazy.
I was just so baffled. Like I was in Africa, so I'm on
Yeah.
the other side of the planet, and I see like fire. Okay, there's fires every now and then in Hawaii. Like from previous, we didn't get like the scale of California wildfires or things like that. We had never really had something like that. And then I see like 80-mile-an-hour winds, and then slowly trickling updates of like, oh no, Lahaina's gone. And I'm like, gone? Like, a
Disintegrated.
few houses burned? Like, no, it's gone. I text Kai Lenny. I said, hey, what's going on over there? I'm seeing some crazy looking stuff. He goes, bro, it's literally gone. The town is incinerated. And I'm like, holy smokes. Like, are people okay? He's like, no. He's like, there's literally, supposedly, like, I wasn't over there in those first days, but from what we've heard from locals, like, it is so much worse than people know.
Yeah, I supposedly, from the people I've talked to and watched what they're posting from Maui, they're like, the media is downplaying this like crazy.
Yeah.
And it's the whole scenario of how it all happened too, just from them blocking like the locals from helping each other.
So bizarre.
Right,
That
yeah,
they had that the roads were closed, no one going in, and a lot of people have just died, and a lot of people need help, and it's closed off, and it comes down to not the state or the government, but the other local people having to take boats in and basically say, no, we're going to help, whether you tell us to, and going in and setting up little
Their own
compounds
camps,
and distribution centers and bringing supplies and money and saving people. I was just like,
dude, it's crazy. So there's this chain of events that just is so wild to me. So the fire starts right from a down telephone line, supposedly.
Yeah.
The firemen come and put it out. All of a sudden, the hurricane winds pick up and start it back up. Or I guess the hurricane winds started the fire because it knocked down
the pole, yeah.
poles. And I guess people were calling Hawaiian Electric, telling them to shut the power off because that's
there must have
protocol.
been, like,
you know how
waving.
when it gets super windy here, the
Yeah.
power just goes off. Like
Yeah.
internet's out, TV's off. It's because our power lines are like that.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to do that. They didn't do that, and then the fire started. Firemen came, put it out to their best ability, and it probably looked like it was out, but the winds just picked it back up like crazy. And then fire gets close enough to Lahaina, and they don't sound the sirens. And in the thing on the website of the government, like whatever the sirens are for, it like wildfire is like right there. They're supposed to signal them, so they didn't signal them. And then the firemen, I guess, that got there ran out of water because there was some big water dispute between counties or something, and there was no water for them to fight
That is the craziest part.
the fire. And then, I guess while the fire was happening, they put up a roadblock supposedly because of down power lines. So people were stuck in Lahaina
Yeah.
in their cars.
Yeah.
And that's what like fucked them up even more. Just everything's fucked. But then after all that, like all these people, whoever did make it out of the fire, no government comes for like 3 days or something, and the locals are getting turned around trying to help.
Yeah.
They sent a Coast Guard boat to stop the boats from coming in at Lahaina to help, and they had to, like, Kai Lenny and all of them, and like Matt Miola, they were all going to that other beach around.
Yeah. That
To
is
help people and then
so
set up the camps and
crazy.
stuff. Dude, I
So
just,
crazy.
the whole thing is just so strange to me.
So strange.
Like, we could go down some rabbit holes online right now.
There is definitely rabbit holes being gone down, but there's a freakish amount of things that are just, it's too much to be coincidence.
Yeah, there's like,
like there's some things where you're like, that's a write-off. Like, aliens started the fire.
yeah.
But then there's some things where you're like, okay, that's just actually weird. There's video of it. There's
Yeah.
a bunch of people saying this. People that aren't crazy, totally normal individuals, well-respected people
yeah.
are saying, hey, this is like way beyond. This is way weird. There was no government official when they said we sent hundreds in.
Yeah. I saw military guys being like, during Hurricane Iniki on Kauai, the military was there, I guess, in like 12 hours.
Yeah.
Built shelters, bathrooms, showers, food, water for everyone. And the guy's like, he's like, the guy I was watching online was like, I was there for Hurricane Iniki, and this is what we did. And I'm right outside of Hickam. We got all the supplies right there. I don't see one plane going back and forth or helicopter. We could have this set up in a couple hours. He's like, we built runways in places in like the middle of nowhere within a day.
It's so crazy. And I saw things like that where there was like guys on standby or whatever it is, like they're volunteer, but in cases of national emergency or whatever, that's when they get like, and they were all ready to go, like paramedics and like all these people that would be a huge help. And they're calling and saying, hey, we're ready to go. Like we're watching it happen. Like, why aren't we being deployed and going in?
Yeah.
Silence.
It's crazy. Oh, and after all these crazy events, once FEMA finally did get there, like everyone from here and like Maui coordinated all these shipping containers of supplies and everything, like food, clothes, generators, like all that stuff to get there. And they FEMA seized 6 containers.
That's crazy.
They took them.
Then didn't distribute them.
No, I don't know if they got them after or what, but like, I guess the people at the docks, whoever run the docks, like the shipping, the stevedores or whatever, were like, it was all planned out, ready to go, and it got there, and FEMA's like, nope, can't have it.
That is
My brother was
super
there
crazy.
because I sent a bunch of This Is Living stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, it wasn't in one of the containers that got seized, but I talked to him after. He's like, bruh, because I thought they only seized one container, but I guess he's like, they seized like 6
That's insane.
for the people that were helping. They didn't have like internet or radios or anything for days. The government didn't bring one thing down. Like,
It was the people from the other side of the island doing everything
yeah.
and being told not to.
How, dude?
And they're literally doing no harm. They're saving lives.
Saving
helping
lives.
people
They're heroes,
doing what
dude.
the state should have done within hours of possibly hundreds of people dying.
Dude, I heard they've been like downplaying the death toll too.
Yeah. I heard it's like could be close to 1,000. I don't
Yeah.
know facts. I'm not there, but I heard from like some of the firemen were saying what they saw in the streets. It was so bad. It was it was traumatizing.
Yeah.
It looked like a straight up war zone. Bodies in the streets, people burned, just like piles of ash.
It's crazy. We should try to get some of those people on the podcast maybe
Yeah.
to talk about like firsthand.
Well, they're still going through it. It is a few weeks now, but there's still
Oh, they're gonna be going through it for years and years and
things
years.
going on. And we'll throw like, that was like another thing that happened is like, there's just people out there that try to profit off it. There was some bad links that went around. And so there was some good links that went up, but I guess it got really weird with the links and everything. But we know of a few trusted foundations or just personal friends that are actually there, actually helping. We'll throw the links in the description of the video.
For people to support
Ones that
and
are
stuff.
reliable.
For sure.
Because now I guess it's like, what happened is like there was such an outpouring of gear and things like shirts and clothes and all that stuff. They got what they needed, but now it just comes down to like they have more than they need for just clothing on their backs. It's financial help that is needed.
Yeah.
That's just the baseline. And all that stuff is like, there's more storms coming. There's nowhere to put it.
What about Joe Biden's like, oh, we'll give everyone $700. Do you see that? The same day, like sent like billions to Ukraine. It's like every
same
Lahaina,
day.
every Lahaina resident gets $700.
Same day,
Like-
like 25 billion gets sent out.
What the fuck is going on, dude?
I don't know. And you're looking at like Hungary sent 200 pod homes. Hungary was like, hey,
To where, Maui?
to Maui.
Are you serious?
Zord is from Hungary, and he
Yeah.
told me, he's like, bro, I don't know why or how it's related or for what reason, but Hungary had these pod homes, and they're like, we'll send 200 for housing for the people who lost their homes in the fire.
Wow.
Just out of the blue.
How
And
random, huh?
And it's like,
That's awesome.
like, our government should be doing that.
Yeah, the most powerful government in the entire world.
Like, what the heck?
It's crazy. Well, this took a little bit of a sad turn.
Yeah.
We could get back onto some happy stuff, though. Are you happy to be home? You just got back, right?
I'm
2 days
so
ago?
happy to be home. It's like, I don't know. I feel like 2022, I was so psyched to be on the road. And this year, especially in the beginning, I was like fired up to be on the road. But the way we were traveling this year was so back and forth instead of spending a lot of time in certain locations. It
Yeah.
was so like jumping on planes so consistently. And I did like I swear it was 24-hour turnarounds. Porto, back here, 24 hours. I went to Costa Rica for June Shine, came home, 24 hours left to Oz, and like did that, and then came home, rested a week, went to Africa, to Indo, got hurt, rested 2 weeks, and got on a plane again. Africa, I just spent a month there. It was insane. Namibia was epic, and we actually got to go see like more of Namibia, not just Skeleton Bay and the wave and stuff. We went and explored the deserts, which was like one of the coolest, some of the
Dune
coolest.
7 or even further?
Oh, bro, we were 6 hours into
Oh,
the
no
desert
way.
to these the most bizarre things. It's so quiet and it's so empty of people and it's so weird out there and the wildlife is so interesting. It's just like, it was just really cool. And then we spent a few weeks in Cape Town and got to catch up with friends, Frank Solomon, and we didn't score on waves in Cape Town necessarily, but I've been there many times and I wanted to show Mahina the area, and it was just, Cape Town's so sick of a place. But by the end, and the 45-hour travel back. I was
Oh my God.
so tired of being on airplanes, and then I get home and it just feels so nice to be home.
It's so nice to be home. I was gone too for a couple months, from Fiji to Australia, and then, or like 3 months, California.
Those 3 months were crazy, the amount of jumping around we were all doing.
I know. Well, the thing was, I was so ready to just surf my brains out, and then I got hurt. So I have like all this built up like surf psych in me right now. I'm like, I will go somewhere on a surf trip.
Yeah.
So they said I should probably go back to California for like another week for physical therapy. And then I should be good to go somewhere. So like, I just want to get one more swell somewhere else.
There is nothing more motivating than being injured.
Dude.
And all of a sudden you want to surf, but you can't. You're just like,
there's no waves. I'm home in Hawaii and like I can finally surf, and there's been one day of random waves. Like I just feel like a pent up like.
It's so good in a way though, because you just every once in a while you need that hype.
Yeah, it's like injuries can take you to weird places. Like for me, usually it starts as like the shock, like, oh God, like I gotta get surgery, like figuring everything out. And then once you figure it all out, it kind of sinks in, and I'm like, oh no, I can't surf, I'm depressed. So I get like depressed for a little bit, and then I get motivated. I'm like, what workouts can I do? So I'll just work out anything I can.
Get super fired
and just
up.
like try to get in good shape. I'm like, I cannot wait to surf. So like I think I'm in that part of my injury. So I go in like highs and lows of being like really down.
You're in the
sad.
lifting weights part.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm 170.
Tell the people your body weight. This guy's putting on the games.
I've been 150 my entire life, right? And I started just lifting because I couldn't do much on my feet and not much cardio or like the exercises we usually do, like CrossFit ones.
Yeah.
So I literally signed up to Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, right next to where I was staying. The closest gym.
Wow.
Wasn't really like, I don't know. I didn't like go to Gold's because it was this like, I found out like how historic and steroided out the place is. It's like, dude, you walk in there and like,
the closest place.
but they're really nice people.
Of course,
You look at, so we're so used to being in gyms, like our home gyms, and knowing everyone when you walk in, like setting up workouts and like equipment being there and stuff. But this was the first gym I've ever signed up to. Like I don't even know, like a 24-hour fitness. Have you ever done anything like this?
Yeah, it's very weird.
So it's honestly kind of intimidating.
So intimidating. That's what I was going to say.
Like people look angry, kind of, and their people are huge. Everyone's
Huge,
three times the size of me.
Yeah.
They're monsters.
Yeah.
But they are all like, they're cycling and they're very open about it. But turns out a lot of them watch surfing and they're really fucking cool. Yeah. And they're like offering to train me and like all this stuff. So,
and they have so much knowledge.
They do. They're really smart and they're very disciplined.
Yeah.
The people that
Takes
really take it seriously
Yeah.
are like, the discipline is pretty insane.
Yeah.
But
I agree though. Public gyms have a weird, I don't know if it's a weird vibe or just more maybe pressure you put on yourself. We work out so much.
Yeah.
Walking into a public gym and trying to like do a workout that you wanted to do in your head, you just, for some reason, you feel super judged. And like even like getting on the machine and you're like, you kind of know you're doing it right, but you're not sure. You feel like you're on one of those videos, like someone might be filming me.
For the first week, I just stuck to like curls and bench press.
Yeah, like,
and I was like, because I was embarrassed to be like doing something wrong.
Yeah, totally.
It's so weird. It's not like how we walk in, like we're like, oh, let's go work out. Like get there and like, what's up? High five. Like, what are we gonna do today? Like sit down, cruise.
Totally.
In there, it's like you're like, oh, like.
You
just
feel
put your
like
head
you
down,
might
like,
be doing
is
wrong.
this machine open or is this
There's a
weight
whole
being
nother like
used?
etiquette, and you're afraid to like take someone's area that they might be supersetting machines on. Like
it's trippy because we work out so much and we're like in the gym all the time, but this type of gym is way different.
Yeah.
But I made friends, and then I kind of learned how like the etiquette works in the gym a little bit.
And you got on steroids.
Yeah, I started cycling. Some testosterone.
We're talking 6 weeks, 150 to 170. Ko put on 20 pounds in 6 weeks.
I It's just genetics,
There's
dude.
a lot of things
My veins
that are not adding up here.
I started noticing my veins just start because I was just doing these curls. I had my workouts I'd hit every day, and there was this exercise I would end with, and there's mirrors. Gyms are covered in mirrors.
Yeah.
By the way,
Mirrors are so epic,
I think,
though.
yeah,
Because you can see your form to the T.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you can really look at yourself.
Yeah, I love looking at myself.
But I started noticing my veins because my veins in my neck just got so large. I'm like, whoa, I kind of look like I'm on steroids.
Well,
I was like flexing, like, whoa.
you know what they say? You look like you're on steroids.
I'm not. But I am open to it. I had a little bit of an argument with my dad yesterday about, okay, I know you're super knowledgeable in this, but what is Anavar, the super gnarly steroid that like hurts your heart and kills you?
Anavar, from what I know of it, is like, I think Anavar is a super light steroid.
Okay.
If steroid can be called light, but I'm pretty sure Anavar is one even like chicks might be able to take because it has like a lower level of testosterone or something.
Yeah, Dad, you were right. I was like, because what's the other one? I think it's Tren.
Tren is like the crazy notorious one.
I was confused. I was driving him to town yesterday, and he's like, because I was talking about Gold's Gym, and I met some people that were talking about steroids. So I'm like, I thought I knew about steroids, and I'm like, no, Anavar is like the super gnarly anabolic steroid that bodybuilders take, and they know they're gonna die young when they cycle it a ton of times. He's like, no, Anavar is the one chicks can take, and I was like, no, I think you're wrong. So, Dad, you're right, but it's Tren,
It's
the one that makes you like
that is
massive.
the one, and it like people go insane on it.
Yeah, that's the roid rage, right?
The way they think.
Oh,
like,
there's that Netflix documentary called Killer Sally. Have you watched
that
it?
show? That was really good.
It was very well put together.
Very well put together.
Crazy.
Really crazy.
Yeah. If you guys want to watch something about steroids,
But
that's
yeah,
pretty wild.
or like, where was I watching all the trends? More Plates, More Dates. It's a YouTube channel called More Plates, More Dates. And
I've heard about that guy.
He does these breakdowns, and he has this Reddit forum where he'd like people tell their trend stories, personal trend stories of what they took and what they did on it. And these stories are insane.
Really?
Like guys are talking about like random road rage incidents where they get out of their cars and they're trying to fight like 6 guys, like, and they're just one person, like, and it's just in their head
One
they
huge
become
person.
superhuman. Like the
Well,
trend.
dude, look at them. They make them. It makes them superhuman.
It's crazy. Crazy.
That's wild.
I don't know where we're going with that.
I don't know either. I was talking about. I was curious. Steroids. Should we take them?
I think at some point.
I think I'd be willing to try them once I had kids. Is the only thing I heard.
That's what I would be.
Could mess you up with.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to try like Tren, but I'd be
No.
open to try like something that got me huge. But then I might not be able to surf because some of those.
I think there would be like, for me, I'd be interested in. So like, look at us here talking about injuries, surfing psycho waves, the risk of injury, getting on planes, getting off a flight. You're not totally ready. You're surfing a heavy wave. You're getting your body tweaked. Like, how could steroids help that? The recovery aspect. How much faster can you recover?
Yeah.
Maybe you get off a flight and you're like, I feel 100% because you
You're
just
fine.
have raging T levels.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'll surf 6 days back to back and never get tired. Like,
Or
is there
sore.
is there something like that? Like that I don't have 2 iron bars of soreness in my neck after every session?
All day by
Like-
day
like
2, you're just like crippled.
Shoulders are just cramping. Like, give me some of that.
Could be something to look into for sure.
Yeah. If any of you out there got experience, list your favorite
Tell us what we should
steroids.
take. And we could podcast about it. We just come in, we're angry.
Yeah, slowly mutating over the next 6 episodes.
Yeah. Well, no, I did. I put on like close to 20 pounds.
Did you change your diet at all?
No, I started.
It's just the lack of cardio.
I guess just the lack of cardio. I mean, I'm not like, I don't have crazy abs or anything, but my arms got bigger.
That's crazy.
And I didn't like.
You didn't
get,
change
like,
your
fat.
diet at all.
Well, okay, so I changed. I don't eat out anymore. Like even in California, I started grocery shopping and cooking at home.
Yep.
So I think that just makes me a million times healthier.
Yeah, for sure.
than not knowing what you're eating. But then every night in California, you could just Postmates ice cream to your house.
Oh my gosh.
So I was just doing that and just eating chocolate and ice cream every night. So that could
have a factor in the 20 pounds of gains.
But I was working out a lot, just lifting weights, and it's something I've never done.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I barely ever go in the gym and just like bench press or curls or like focus strictly on certain muscles.
Oh, and that's called bodybuilding for a reason.
Yeah. I think
bodybuilding isn't called CrossFit for a reason, right?
Yeah.
CrossFit isn't meant to build your muscle super big. It's a totally different type of training, but it involves high intensity. And if you're injured, you shouldn't be working out highly intensive because you're fucking injured and you don't want to re-injure. You're on the recovery. So you do movements that are controlled, high reps and sets of bench and curls. And that's bodybuilding. That's what grows your muscles.
It's something I've kind of grown to like. I think I'm going to like mix it into my normal training like I used to do.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's this big trend going on right now of what they're calling hybrid athletes, which at first looking into, I was like, this is just CrossFit rebranded. Like, I'm seeing it all over the fitness YouTubes I follow, like hybrid training programs, hybrid athletes, this and that. And I'm like, we mix endurance with weightlifting. And I'm like, oh, this is CrossFit.
It sounds
you
like
do
CrossFit.
everything. You just train everything.
Uh-huh.
But I guess it's more specifically long form endurance with like strength training or bodybuilding mixed in. And so you're getting I don't think whereas CrossFit might be more of like we're mixing gymnastics, endurance, Olympic lifting, powerlifting, and body weight, all of that together. It's almost everything across the board, swimming, whatever, where this is like, hey, we're going to be fit enough to run a pretty fast marathon, but we're also strength training and bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And so it's creating these like guys that have crazy engines, but they look a little bit like bodybuilders.
Yeah.
It's super interesting.
I haven't heard of that yet. But I do like how CrossFit, like, it can kind of just be anything. Like, I swear the CrossFit games just change. Yeah. Like, there's all kinds of, like you said, swimming. Like, I wouldn't have thought that's a CrossFit workout, but it can be added to it.
Yep.
You know, one of my most, like, what I love the most about CrossFit and, like, why I think those exercises are really, like, I have been drawn to that more is because you get so, like, in the zone wanting to complete it or do good that almost and you're working out so hard.
Yeah.
Like, the hardest I've ever worked out is doing those workouts. And you almost go into, like, a meditative state. And then by the end of it...
totally meditative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think being able to just leave, it's kind of like surfing or like getting barreled, you know, like you drop in and pull in, you're like.
So those workouts become so intense, your focus narrows so much that there's nothing can be thought about except completing the workout.
Yeah.
One goal, one mission. I have to finish this.
Yeah.
I'm dying. Simple mind of just complete, where, you know, like most of the other time, you have 1,000 thoughts going on.
Yeah, like when I was lifting in the gym.
Would get away from that.
Yeah.
But I agree, CrossFit has that effect.
I really like that. That's like my favorite part about it. It's just being able to like disconnect. It's kind of like a form of meditation, I want to say.
Yeah.
So it's like it feels healthy. But I didn't get that same feeling from bodybuilding.
Get
or like
the pump.
just lift. Yeah, I would just get pumped. I'm like, wait, do I have rhabdo? Did I go too hard in front of all these bodybuilders? I'm like, this guy's looking at me.
He's judging me. I'm doing it wrong.
Like, I'm in his seat. This is where he lives. It's pretty funny.
Okay, well, we are back, and hopefully going to be recording more podcasts. As always, thank you guys for watching. Comments, questions, concerns, drop them in the comments. We'll try to get them answered. We still have so much catching up to do.
So much.
We have barely seen each other in months, and so there's so many trips to even go over. I know it sounds like we went over a lot just now over the hour, but
oh yeah, I didn't even get into Fiji or Australia.
No
really.
Fiji, no Oz, no Porto.
We got a lot to talk about. We'll break it up.
We'll break it up, but we'll see you guys on episode 17 next. Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Give us a like, give us a follow. Thanks for
subscribe.
watching.
Oh wait, check out the coasters. We didn't bring up the
Our
coasters.
friend.
So we got some fan art, I guess, mail,
Fan mail.
and then show them the little.
Okay. So
Someone noticed. I don't know how they got them to us, but
this epic card was custom made with coconuts and photos of Co and I podcasting and surfing, and it says one of our watchers, Craig and his wife, they saw us doing the podcast on a new table and putting our drinks down without coasters. And they enjoyed the show and were kind enough to send us these epic coasters. So we thank you. Thank you for the support. Thank you for watching. And that was really thoughtful of you. Me and Koa absolutely love this.
yeah,
And we used them the whole podcast. I don't know if you can see in the lens, probably can, but
Yeah.
we were just using them. So putting them to good use. Thanks for watching. And thank you for the card.
Yeah, the
Stoked.
support is amazing. We'll see you guys next time.